You are listening to the Business Leadership Podcast with Edwin Frondozo.
Hello. I'm Paul Newton, creative producer of the Future Narrator miniseries, and I'm joined by Edwin Frondozo, host of the Business Leadership Podcast. We are recording live at Web Summit Vancouver 2025, where we're exploring how today's leaders shape the future, not just through strategy, but through story. We believe that a strong point of view is what inspires communities, builds movements, and cuts through the noise in uncertain times. So let's dive into this conversation. Today's guest is a powerhouse at the intersection of startups, strategy, and scale. Tamara Steffens is the managing director of Thomson Reuters Ventures, where she leads a $100 million strategic fund investing in early-stage companies shaping the future of enterprise tech. In just 3 years, she's helped turn the firm into one of the most active corporate venture funds in North America and beyond. A seasoned operator and investor, Tamara has contributed to multiple high-profile exits, including Software.com and Boingo, both IPOs, and acquisitions by Microsoft, Apple, and Kakao Talk. Before helping found Thomson Reuters Ventures, she led investing and VC partnerships at M12, Microsoft's venture arm, and currently serves on the National Advisory Council on Innovation and Entrepreneurship under the U.S. Secretary of Commerce. If you're building at the edge of innovation or investing at the heart of it, you're going to want to hear what she has to say.
Welcome to the Business Leadership Podcast.
Thank you for having me. Delighted to be here.
I'm super excited to have you and really to sit down. But just to get started, we're in day 2 here at Web Summit Vancouver. Not sure how's your week going here so far?
So far, great. We've met tons of great founders, lots of new startups in our thesis or in our categories that we look at. So excited to be here. We're Canadian, right? So Thomson Reuters is based in Toronto. So we were excited to come over to Vancouver, obviously for better weather yesterday, which was nice.
It was amazing.
But yeah, so excited to be here, meet both Canadian and US based founders. So it's fun.
Yeah, no, it's fun. And it's funny, I meet other fellow people from Toronto, and I'm from Toronto. So it's nice to converge here in Vancouver, where all the innovation's happening in the startups. Let's just get started. For those who may be listening, may not know, tell us about Thomson Reuters Ventures and really the problem that it's looking to solve with the early stage venture investing and within enterprise innovation.
Yeah, so it's great. Thomson Reuters, we started our venture fund 3 years ago, and new news, we actually have a second fund now, so we're actually $250 million under management, which is exciting. We announced it just recently, so it's hot off the press. We try to invest in things we know. So we invest from a financial lens, so we want return on investment. So we no different than any other venture fund that wants return. So that's how we look at things and why we invest. But we tend to invest in things we know, right? Mm-hmm. So legal, tax, fintech, things on the periphery of that. Certainly some media because of Reuters. But we don't like to invest in things we don't know, right? So that's our strategy.
Well, that's amazing. And when it comes to, I guess, your position and being the managing director, I'd be curious now, given your track record, where you come from, and being within the investments business, what's your unique point of view now that you bring to the firm and also to the portfolio companies?
Yeah, I actually don't think it's changed much over the years because I did 6 startups. I tend to have a lot of empathy for founders, right? There's always changes, potential pivots. It's a roller coaster to ride to get on to begin with to start a company. It's hard, and any founder who takes that risk and that journey, I like to try to be there for them because I've done it, right? I've seen the ebbs and flows of being in a startup, and so if I can be one of the people on the team of investors, one of the sane board members that understands there's bumps, then I like to offer that.
Yeah, so having done it 6 times, what do you really care about here?
Well, now I'm on the other side, so I do care that we get a return on investment. So I want to see the founder succeed. I want to make sure that they understand what an exit looks like, and there's multiple ways to exit, right? They can go public, they can sell, they can merge. So there's a number of different paths they can take. And as we hopefully go down that journey together, I can give them some guidance on what is the best path for them. I mean, everybody wants to go public, right? Generally speaking, that would be the greatest exit, right? Should be, but it's not always, right? Sometimes it is better to sell the company. And I've had a chance to do both, right? Software.com went public in 99, but we sold Acompli, which was my last startup, to Microsoft at the end of 2014, right? Both great outcomes. And in the end, really, either way was fantastic. So I think sometimes people think we're going to IPO and that's the direction we have to go. But if you get the right offer and you can exit earlier with less stress, I say take that route if you can.
Yeah. And so having experienced the different ways out, how do you guide people to exploring or getting ready for the outcomes that are possible?
Yeah, it's a much longer journey to go public, especially now. Back, when we took Software.com public, it really was, you could have significantly less revenue than you have to have today, I think, to be successful in an IPO. So it was granted, it was a while ago, but I think getting to that level of revenue and that consistency to be able to string together 6 or 8 quarters as a public company is difficult, right? So it's not something you can do in 4 or 5 years, which we were able to do at Software.com. Probably not 5 years, probably 7. But if you think about it now, it's just a longer journey. So if you can exit for the right price to another publicly traded company, it's a lot less stress than taking a company public.
So doing this 6 times, what is it about you that keeps you going? And
yeah, well, I'm not doing startups anymore, so
yeah.
I'm not aging as quickly, which is great. Not to say that it isn't fun, because it is addictive, right? So getting into that grind and being able to get a company going, and I always was, focused on revenue, right, and go to market, which I think is the most fun. I don't know that, the engineers who have to deliver the product and change it and fix it when it's broken, I feel like that's more stress, but a lot of people think the revenue side is more stress. But for me, I think getting the product in market and generating money is more fun than writing code.
yeah. And when did you first discover that was the fun part?
Yeah, I don't know. I think being in sales and being able to, talk about what the product does and the success it can have depending on, the first company startup I was at was Software.com, and it does email. Like, people don't know that. People thought we were like a marketplace for software, but it was actually email. And when I told my friends, I'm going to go to work for this email company, and they're like, why? And because everybody's going to have personal email. And they're like, what? We all have voicemail. I know it really ages me to say that, but I'm like, no, I think this is the direction people are going to go. You're going to have a personal email. Now, how many of us all have 5 personal email addresses, right? Yeah. Maybe more, depending on, you get one for junk, one for real stuff, one for your kids. So it surely that did end up working out, but I do know my friends kind of laughed at me, and I thought, I can easily sell this. This makes sense. Because back in the day, you would have to have long email address extensions on your email address, because at the time, Microsoft would only allow, I think it was 5,000, I could be wrong, it's so many years ago, 5,000 people under a single domain. So you had to be like Tamara at dallas.x.com, right? So you couldn't just be Tamara at AOL.com or Tamara at whatever. And so these guys came out of UCSB. They found a way to, put millions of addresses on a single domain. They were, brilliant. I thought, this is a great idea. And, no one else thought it was that great of an idea at the time, which is why it worked out. You can pick them. So I still like that part of it. I knew I could get in and sell the software. Loved the founder, John McFarlane, amazing. He actually started Sonos after Software.com, so the guy's definitely a repeat genius. But I like to get in and sell things that are fun, that make sense. So, and that's how I invest too. So I always look at something and say, is anybody going to buy this? Like, and who? And then how many people are going to buy this? How many companies are going to buy this? What is the addressable market? If it's big enough, you'll succeed. If it's not, probably have a short life.
And what do you think it is about you that just like sees something and says, I can sell this?
I don't, I tend to invest in things I like.
Yeah.
So if it makes sense, if it takes somebody a really long time to explain it to me, it's not to say they won't succeed. I just am probably not the right investor, right? It's got to make sense to me. And I'm over the years, I've become fairly technical. So it's not like I don't understand tech, but, I tend to look for things that people want to buy.
Yeah. What makes you think I like?
I think if somebody can explain to me, we just invested in a company recently called Supio, which is amazing plaintiff tech. So lawyers buy it, right? Legal law firms buy it, and it speeds up the process to help them understand what the settlement could be, what the court case is going to look like, what the outcomes are going to be. So it takes in a ton of data, and it helps the lawyer make a decision on, how to try that case, if you will, or go to. And a lot of times, plaintiff law is settled too, so you have to understand what you're trying to sell for. What if it's a medical, tort, whatever case it is, you have to determine kind of what that outcome is. That makes sense to me. There's a ton of data.
Yeah.
You have to understand all of the outcomes of the other cases that have gone to court before, so that you know what you're, advising your client of and how you're, negotiating with the other side. Now you can use AI to speed that process up. They have all the data. The system works amazing. The trajectory is crazy as far as their traction. So it was like, okay, this makes perfect sense, right? If I was a lawyer and I was a plaintiff lawyer, I could easily start using this software and just change the game as how I go to market. So that's how I make a decision. I look at everything from that perspective of who's using it and how are they going to make money using it.
And is there a process to that, or you just get it?
There's always a process.
Yeah.
I said it like a Canadian process. I'm American. Process, right?
You've been here.
Yeah. Well, my dad was Canadian, so I can flip back and forth. But, I think we do a lot of diligence. I mean, we're so lucky because we can use our internal teams, right? Our engineering teams and our labs teams, and they'll take a look at things for us to tell us, what does this look like and what do you think? And a lot of times we look at tech for internal use as well. So if our internal team takes a look at it and they think it's valuable, I mean, we have a lot of engineers at Thomson Reuters, so we're lucky. We can get a pretty good answer from them as well.
Yeah. So no one's sitting there thinking, oh, you're crazy for
No.
doing this now. They're like, okay.
No, we look even internally for our engineering teams and our sales teams. If they see something in the market that their customers are buying, their customers are looking at, they'll call us and say, hey, have you seen this company, or have you, looked at this? So we get leads from them, which we love.
It's amazing. I appreciate your story. And it's such a colorful background where you come from and all the personal experience you have. And as much as it may not come in, it comes innately to you, but all that wisdom that you have just from being within the operator and allowing to provide it. And really just now looking at the data and what would make sense and, what comes to you naturally. And sometimes you don't realize that talent you have in terms of like doing that. And you get the vast amount of abundant resources at Thomson Reuters to really help you really like validate what you're looking at and do that type of stuff. So before we end, I'd love it if you could, just to put you in the right mindset and context, we're sitting here at Web Summit Vancouver. You and your team are seeing amazing startups you mentioned earlier, innovations, people you might think they're crazy. Like there's no service here. But I'd love it if you could just share any like thoughts, recommendations, or any advice. Could be a founder, CEO, or even the business leaders who are listening today.
You do have to simplify your message if you want people to understand it. So I would say that as a founder, and a lot of these meetings are 15 minutes, right? Mm-hmm. So you're going and you're meeting an investor, or you're meeting a potential customer that you can sell to. Get the message across quickly, right? So that they understand what you can offer and how does the product work, right? You don't always have time for a demo at Web Summit. Sometimes you do, right? And if they can quickly show you something, that's even better. But I would say simplify the message so people understand what they're buying and why it's going to benefit them. And hopefully in that 15 minutes, you can get some good leads, right?
Yeah, and it's important. And the one thing I just want to add on to in terms of how you explain that is that's the elevator pitch. Like, there's no time to give the demo, right? Like,
Right.
And the demo is actually the follow-up. It could be the follow-up, but that's when they're interested now. You caught my eye. I heard something that, and I'm sure this is what goes through you. It's like, okay, let me see what you have.
Yep.
I'll give you another 2 minutes.
Exactly.
Basically, like we'll go up another 3 floors and we'll
Exactly.
talk about that. Show me your demo.
Because they're looking at so much. So you got to find a way to be succinct and differentiate.
That's amazing. We wrote this book called Future Narrator last year from Collision. We interviewed VCs, founders, CEOs, and people who are really helping build and do the whole innovation. So we just released. So we just wanted to present it to you.
Thank you.
And we
Excited.
hopefully it motivates you and the people you work with, all your portfolio, because we believe that it's, as you say, in terms of the elevator, it's all your vision. But now with the world of AI, not everyone, but a lot of people could build a product very quickly. But now it's the mission, it's the responsibility of the founder to really have that story. What is the world they were creating? Because when you have a very good story, it's easy to get stakeholders, investors. It's easy to hire people. It's easier to get clients. So when you have a clear vision, and this was sort of what we were learning and what we've been doing over the last 10 years in terms of helping founders and CEOs, we want to present that to you.
Thank you so much. It's been great. I look forward to reading this on my long flight home.
Amazing. Well, thank you for joining us on the Business Leadership Podcast.
Thanks so much, guys.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it.
You are listening to the Business Leadership Podcast with Edwin Frondozo.